Hi there, this is Rob at Reason101.net, and I'm here to continue on with creating some synths with Pulsar. In the first installment, what we did was we created a nifty little synth here, and what I have done is mapped out the phase for oscillator 1, phase for oscillator 2, the shuffle for both, the lag for both, and changed the waveform on the button here. So we can do a couple of different things with it. So basically, yeah, so this is our synth. So now what we can do, here's an interesting thing that's kind of fun. Let's go back into utilities. Let's create another pulsar. Let's flip around to the back. Let's take the LFO out from LFO1 and send that to the shuffle and on LFO1 on the first pulsar. Then let's take the negative CV output and send that to the other shuffle. Flip around and let's see what that does. Okay, so it creates some movement for both shuffles here. What you can also do is turn on LFO2 and sync it with LFO1, and then let's change the rate here. Okay, so just a fun little thing that you can do with two pulsars. So let's delete that pulsar now because we don't need it at the moment. And let's get into some more interesting attempts at using Pulsar. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to return the attack to normal, release to normal, rate to normal, level to normal, rate, level. So everything's back to the way it should be at the beginning when you first load it. And you're going to hear some clicks, some pops, some wonderful stuff. So let's flip around to the back. Let's go down here, and underneath the pulsar, let's create a Thor, and let's take the LFO1 out and put that in the audio output 1. Take LFO2 out and put that in audio output 2. And now let's take LFO1, send that into audio input 1. LFO2, send that into audio input 2, and what we're going to do is we're going to actually process this through Thor. So let's open up Thor, let's remove the oscillator, let's remove the filter for now, let's take that off, let's take out the mod envelope because we don't need that at the moment, let's turn off the global envelope, and now let's go down into your mod matrix here. Let's take audio input 1 because we need to tell it what we're going to do with these audio signals, and audio input 2, and let's send that 100, mount 100 for both, and send that to the destination of filter 1 audio input. And same thing on the second one, let's send it to filter 1 audio input. So now what this is going to do is, alright, it's not going to do very much. So let's first increase the rate on both LFOs, and you can kind of hear that going through. So let's reduce the gain a little bit, and let's increase the level to about 60 or so. Now you can kind of hear it. Let's increase the level a little bit more, 75. Let's increase the gain. Now if you want velocity, what's basically happening is the audio input 1 and 2 are going into filter 1 input, and then they're going through the shaper and out to the amp. So what you can do is you can actually use the shaper if you want. You can use the velocity. Okay, you can basically, if you want, you can add in a filter here, add a low pass, add a comb filter, okay, so you can basically send everything through filter 1 and then you get some output. So in this way we're taking the two oscillators in the pulsar and we're sending them through Thor We can also use Thor's amp envelope to actually guide the sound the way you want it. So let's just bypass this for now. Let's turn on sine, so we have that. And let's turn down the amp envelope decay and turn the sustain down. And you see how that now affects the sound. So you can do all kinds of fun things with that you can't do having just an attack and a release mode on Pulsar. Now you're using the amp envelope of Thor to process your sound. So you've got an attack, decay, sustain, release. The other step that you can do if you want to bypass these two filters slots over here and bypass the shaper entirely is you can send that filter 1, take filter 1 for two sources over here, and send that amount 100% to the destination of filter 3 left input and filter 3 right input. And the amount, because now you're basically taking a filter 1 from here and sending it directly to filter 3's input, so you're bypassing this envelope. So what you need to do is now send it back to the envelope by scaling it by the amp envelope, and to get your velocity you also want to scale it by the MIDI key velocity for both. Okay, so now your amp envelope and your velocity are going to work on the sound that you're sending through. In that case, let's move the amp velocity down. You don't need that. Let's move the gain, actually let's leave the gain probably at around 10 or so, and let's also be careful of the levels. Let's bring the level down a little. Okay, let's see how that looks on the big meter. Okay, it's not too bad. And now if you play it low, you've got that MIDI velocity happening. And your amp envelope is also shaping the sound. And then you can put a filter in here if you want. You can use low pass filter, raise the resonance, and the frequency down. Add some delay. And then let's add the keyboard tracker. Maybe raise the gain a little. Oh, actually the gain won't work. The gain's not working on this. That's right. It's bypassing the amp because it's going straight into filter 3, so your amp section of Thor actually has no effect on it. So to change the levels, let's increase the level a little. Increase it up to 70. And that is how you process your two oscillators or your two LFOs from Pulsar through Thor. Very simple, not a lot of connection work to do. Just basically two connections. You're sending both LFOs into Thor, and then you're sending Thor back out to your mix channel. That's all there is to this connection. And then inside Thor's mod matrix, you have to send the audio input to filter 1, audio input 1 and 2 both to filter 1, and then filter 1 2 times, sending it to filter 3 left in and filter 3 right in, and scaling it by the amp envelope and the MIDI velocity. And then your levels, you're going to use your two levels for your LFOs in Pulsar to affect how loud you want the sound to be. So I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial. This is basically how to create synths using Pulsar. So again, my name's Rob, and you can come visit me at reason101.net. Thanks a lot for watching.